Hi everyone, I've been out to quite a few houses over the last few weeks and seen some really bad mould problems in properties, much more than I'm used to. I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised at the condensation problems people are having. The cost of living crisis is affecting everybody, and a lot of tenants have just got a fear about putting their heating on. I mean, I run round the house. My wife and kids think I'm an absolute nut job. I'm turning lights off as I go around and being really careful with the heating, much more than I ever was before. So I'm sure everyone's the same in the country at the moment. But I thought I'd put a few tips out here that hopefully are going to help you. Now, number one is educate your tenants. Don't assume they know how to correctly ventilate and heat a house. All the properties that I'm looking after and all my tenants having an information sheet sent out to them about how to educate them, how to counteract condensation. Just little tips like have the heating on, but maybe have the heating on a low heat continuously, or put it on a timer regularly, as opposed to not having on at all, only putting on for a couple of hours here and there. Opening windows, but opening windows on either side of the property to allow a lot of airflow to come through. Putting tops on pans when you're cooking, shutting doors, leaving the windows open in shower rooms and bathrooms to allow a lot of that condensation to come out. Wiping down cold walls where there's condensation on it. There's loads of little tips that you can give to prospective tenants. That you can give to tenants, to help them counteract that. But that should be, I think, the main aim first of all, is to educate them. Now, I'm going to attach an information sheet to this video that you can, if you're not, if I'm not looking after your tenant, you can borrow mine and send that through to your own tenant. The other one is ventilation. Now, under the Homes, Fitness and Habitation Act that was brought in 2018, a landlord's responsible for dampness in the property. But under that banner, that means you need to correctly insulate the property and you need to have correct ventilation in the property. Now, the worry you've got is if a tenant feels that you're ignoring their complaints, you feel they're not adequately ventilating, heating the property themselves, but they feel that you're not taking enough action, they can report you under the Act. That leaves you vulnerable then to the council coming out via environmental health, and when they come out they can do a 27 hazard check and put an improvement notice on you as well. That's called the Housing Health and Safety Rating System. They may well ask you to do lots of improvements to the property anyway, even if the tenant hasn't been very responsible for how they act. Now, one way I find it's a really easy way of making certain that you're taking out the problem of the tenant not correctly ventilating and heating the property is by putting in what are called pacifier air vents. Now, a family on average per day, say a family of 4, will have 14 or produce 14 litres of water vapour a day. And if you've got a HMO, that's going to be a lot more than that. Now, these pacifier air vents, very low cost, don't cost anything to run. You can fit them in rooms. There's like an air vent. They don't allow cold air in, but they allow warm, moist air to go out. On average, for a good one, you'd probably be looking around 2 to 3 litres of water vapour being escaped from a property per day. But they're really good. I've installed them in some of my own properties and I've recommended them to landlords in the past. It kind of guarantees that, even if the tenant doesn't open their windows and doesn't, isn't following the guidelines you would have given to them, at least some of the moisture is escaping the house. The third one, which is quite a controversial one, is trickle vents in your windows. Now, building regs over the years have said that if you're doing a new build, you need to have trickle vents in your windows, and the reason being is because properties are so insulated these days that it's like a cabin. It keeps in all the moisture in the property, so they want trickle vents in there. The problem is a lot of tenants, when I go into homes, I find they're covered up, and the reasoning is if you've got the air vents open, people can hear noise from the road. They feel it allows cold air into a home, but they are really good in allowing moisture. So I'll be recommending that you have trickle vents. If you haven't got them on your windows, I'm sure you can add them in there, and also recommend to tenants not to cover those up as well. A good one is extractor fans. I'll go into bathrooms so often, go into this huge bathroom, pull the extractor fan pull cord, and then all I get is a tick, 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 and it's the most weakest extractor fan you can imagine. Dead as a dodo, not doing any work. It's blocked up. It's old. It's past its sell-by date. You can get these super duper extractor fans now, and I'd recommend you fitting those in all your bathrooms. Again, it just takes away the hassle of a tenant you knowing that a tenant might not open their window when they're in the bathroom. Especially do it if you haven't got any windows in like en suites or whatever. Get a really super duper extractor fan in there. Another one is a tumble dryer. A bit of expense at the start of a tenancy, but I feel like, again, takes away the hassle of knowing that the tenant will probably dry their clothes indoors on radiators and cause condensation problems. I feel like it's a real selling point now as well. If you're renting out a property that it's got a tumble dryer, a lot of HMOs, a lot of students or shared houses or professionals looking at professional lets in shared houses are asking if the tumble dryer is going to be supplied. So I would definitely recommend you doing that. Something I'm seeing a lot of as well is whole house ventilation systems. Obviously there's a bigger expense to this, but I've seen it in the flesh work really, really well. I've had a lot of HMOs where people have had condensation problems in the past. Landlords have got sick of it, so they've just fitted in these systems. It cures the whole house. It's really, really clever. It pushes like fresh air throughout the whole property. It's a great airflow, but there's filters that filter the air and take out the moisture. Brilliant systems, and they work perfectly, and they'll kill that straight away. Another one is insulation. Like if you're looking at your energy efficiency, and your house hasn't got really good loft insulation, it hasn't got cavity wall insulation, you're going to need to do it anyway because the EPC ratings are changing in a couple of years. So why not do it now? Why not help your tenants and get a lot more insulation so the property is easier to manage? Another good one is moving furniture. Speak to your tenants. It's like the old feng shui in your home, and get them to move things like beds, wardrobe, sofas away from the walls to allow good airflow. Condensation wants to collect behind furniture that's close to walls, so the airflow is so important to stop that from happening. Another easy one actually is dehumidifiers. I think if you're a landlord, if you know a tenant's reported issues of condensation, you can tell they're suffering, and you supplied them with a dehumidifier, whether it be a small one or big one, you're obviously going to get a complaint about the cost of running that from the tenant. But I feel like as a landlord, what more can you do? You supply them a device that's hopefully going to get rid of most of the moisture in the house. And lastly, get in there early. I've seen mould growth over a period of weeks spread like wildfire. So if you know your tenant's got a condensation problem, try and jump on it early, because it can be quite costly at the end of a tenancy to put the property right. You've got to get the mould off the walls, you've got to anti-mould spray it, you've got to paint it with anti-mould paint and then redecorate it. So it can be quite costly, but hopefully there's a few tips there that will help you, and let you know where I am if you need anything.